9A, Chapter 7, Review, Part 3. We are now going to graph inequalities. Inequalities, remember, are when we use our inequality signs, such as less than, greater than, less than, equal to, greater than, equal to. When we are graphing inequalities, less than and greater than required a dashed line, where less than, equal to, greater than, equal to require a solid line. Alright, we still use y equals mx plus b when we're graphing inequalities. Let's go ahead and take y is greater than x minus 2 and y is less than or equal to negative x plus 3. Alright, now when we graph, we're just going to pretend like these are equal signs, or inequalities are equal signs. We don't need to worry about the equal signs until we get ready to shade. If I look at my equations, we can see it's already in slope-intercept form. Our work is so much easier. So let's go ahead and graph our first equation. We can see our y-intercept is negative 2, so that means we're going to go to negative 2 on our y-axis. My slope is a positive 1, so that means I'm going to go up 1, right, and my denominator is 1, which is your run, so I'm going to go right 1. So let's do that a few times so that we get enough points where we can go ahead and draw a nice line. So up 1, right 1, up 1, right 1, up 1, right 1, up 1, right 1. And one more. Alright, now we have to go back and we're going to look at our inequality. It just says greater than, there's no equal sign, so that means we've got to use a dashed line. So let's go ahead and do that. And I'm going to draw a nice dashed line through my point. I'm going to extend it in the other direction so we have a nice long line. Okay, great. Now we've got to figure out where is it that we're going to shade. Remember, if it's greater than, we are going to shade above the line. So you're going to shade everything above the line that you have drawn. Okay, great. Now let's work on our second equation. Y is less than or equal to negative x plus 3, already in slope-intercept form, perfect. We need to go to positive 3 on the y. My slope this time is a negative 1 over 1, so that means we've got to go down 1, right 1, down 1, right 1, down 1, right 1. And I'm going to keep doing this until I cross the line, the first line that we have drawn. Alright, so go back to your inequality, less than or equal to, I need a solid line. So let's go ahead and draw a solid line. Let me go back and fix that. This time let's go ahead and capture the arrow. Make sure we have a solid line. Doesn't want to work, I apologize. Alright, I've got it now. Go ahead and draw our line. Remember, equal to with the inequality means a solid line. So here we go. Nice line. I'm going to extend it in the other direction. Great. Now we've got to figure out where to shade. Alright, less than equal to means I'm going to shade everything that is below the line. Alright, so if you're using a pencil, then you're just going to shade in a different direction. I'm using a highlighter so I get to use the color. So I'm going to shade everything that is below the line. Alright, remember your solution area is where the two colors overlap. So I can look look right here, I can see that all of my possible solutions fall right into this area right here. Okay, you will have approximately 3 or 4 problems where you're going to have to graph inequalities, shade, and determine where the solution area falls. Alright, problem solving again. You will have a problem on your test almost identical to this, where the values will be different. Alright, again, we're going to come up with a system of equations in order to solve. A music store is selling CDs for $8.50 and $4.50. You buy 15 CDs and spend a total of $111.50. How many CDs that cost $8.50 did you buy? Right, like I said earlier in class, we want to go ahead and organize our information. What we don't know is how many of each type of CD at the different prices that we spent. Alright, so we have X can represent the CDs that cost $8.50, and we have Y that represents the CDs that cost $4.50. Now let's go ahead and start trying to organize our information. Alright, we know, if we look at the second part of our word problem, that we have 15 units, or 15 CDs. X and Y represent the number of CDs that we have purchased, so one equation could be X plus Y is equal to 15. Looks like my pen is doing something funky here, so let me just go ahead and pause it and see if I can fix it. Alright, it looks like I've got it fixed. Let me go back and write X plus Y is equal to 15. Now let's go ahead and figure out the rest of our information. If we read further into our word problem, we see now that we're going to be looking at another unit. This time it's going to be dollars. So what we'll do is go ahead and highlight our unit of dollars. And is there anything else in our word problem that references dollars? Well, if we go back to the beginning, we can see that one CD or one type of CD costs $8.50. Another type costs $4.50. We don't know how many of each type, so what we'll do is set up another equation that says 850 X plus 450 Y is equal to the total amount that we spent, which is $111.50. You can use any method you want to solve for this, and both of my coefficients in my first equation are 1. I'm going to go ahead and use the substitution method. Since I'm partial to x, I'm going to subtract out y, and I'm going to come up with an equation that reads x is equal to 15 minus y. X now has a value of 15 minus y, so I can go ahead and replace that into my second equation. Alright, so let's go ahead and do that. 850 times 15 minus y, put in the rest of your equation, plus 450y is equal to $111.50. Distribute the 850 to everything inside the parentheses. And we will get first 850 times 15. So let's go ahead and review multiplication. 5 times 0 is 0. 5 times 5 is 25. Bring the 2 up. 5 times 8 is 40, plus 2 is 42. 1 times 0 is 0. 1 times 5 is 5. 1 times 8 is 8. We're multiplying decimals. I have to jump back 2 in my final answer here. we would get 127.50 minus 8.50 y plus 4.50 y equals $111.50. Combine like terms, negative 8.50 plus 4.50y. So we would get 127.50 minus 4y is going to be equal to $111.50. Subtract out the 127.50. So let's do the work over here. Negative 127.50 plus 111.50. 7 minus 1 is 6. 2 minus 1 is 3. And we would get a negative $36. So negative 4y equals a negative 36. Divide out negative 4. And we get y is equal to positive 8. Negative divided by negative is positive. Now the question in the beginning asked us how many CDs that cost us $8.50 did we buy? Well, that represents the variable x, and we only found y. So we're going to go back in, and we're going to go find x. I'm going to use my first equation, x plus y equals 15. X plus y equals 15. Y is now 8. X plus 8 equals 15. Subtract out the 8, and we find out that y, or x rather, I'm just realizing, guys, I've made an error up here. Negative 36 minus negative 4 is not 8, it's 9. Alright, so let's just go back. I'm going to go ahead and fix that. I apologize. Negative 4 times negative 8, or negative 4 times a positive 8 is negative 32. Right? However, negative 36 divided by negative 4 is a positive 9. So that's going to change everything down here. So we bought 6 CDs that cost us $8.50 and 9 CDs that cost us $4.50. Alright guys, I had to pause it because as I'm going through this, it's clicking in my head that something does not seem right. Let's go back up here. Look at this. What did Mrs. Anderson do that was wrong? Good, always go back and look, and when something doesn't seem right, always go back and say, okay, we need to figure out if I did all the steps correct here. Okay, so take a quick look. What do you notice that I did wrong? Alright, 0 minus 0 is 0, 5 minus 5 is 0, 7 minus 1 is 6, that is 2. A negative 2 and a positive 1 is not a negative 3. What is that, guys? It should be a negative 1. Alright. And I'm kind of glad that this happened because you guys make these simple mistakes all the time in class. Right, and you just continue to move about, and you get to the end, and you come up with some numbers, and you're just thankful that you've come up with numbers. And so, but it's always good. You've always got to go back and going to go back. We've rechecked it. I have fixed it, found the error. Now we're going to go back and we're going to fix all of the mistakes that we have made. Alright, so we know that 111, 50, and a negative 120, 50 is not a negative 36. However, it is a negative 16. So let's go ahead and replace that. Now when we divide out the negative 4, alright, we don't get 9. It was looking good in the beginning. Alright, but that's not correct. Alright, so negative 16 divided by a negative 4 gives you a positive 4. Alright, so we in fact bought 4 CDs that cost us $4.50. Okay, I can still go ahead and use my first equation. Nothing has changed there, but instead of using 9, we are going to use 4. Go back in your notes, and we're just going to replace everything with 4. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and subtract out 4 up here. 15 minus 4 is not 6. Alright, that was from our old equation, which was incorrect, and we're going to go ahead and fix that. 15 minus 4 is actually 11. Alright, so x is 11, so we bought 11 CDs that cost us $8.50. So 11, comma 4 would be our solution. X represents the CDs at $8.50. Y represents the CDs at $4.50. Alright, so just let me go back and quickly reiterate to you what we did wrong, or what I did wrong. Please be careful when you subtract. We should have ended up with a negative